Raw, May 5th, 2025 results. It's coming at you next. Okay, so the opening had Paul Heyman getting extremely flustered with Jey Uso. Jey was originally trying to call out Logan Paul, but then Paul Heyman came out there and started talking. Jey was talking about that he didn't like how he betrayed Roman Reigns. And Paul Heyman used the defense of when Roman lost his title at WrestleMania last year, and how he left after that and left Paul Heyman with Solo and the rest of that group, which they later powerbombed him through a table. I have a video on that. Anyway, he brought up that and he was saying, Paul Heyman basically felt like, why should he be the bad guy, even though Roman Reigns did it first? But come on, you guys have mended since then. Like, what are you talking about? Paul Heyman just kept saying things that just didn't make much sense, and he just kept getting flustered, and he was just getting angry. It's like he had like a bit of a fit, and then by the end of it, he just leaned on the ropes and glanced at Jey Uso from the side. Jey Uso took a long pause, and he goes, "Are you okay?" Which was kind of a funny moment, right? Paul Heyman finally gets his words back, and he starts talking about that he said Jey Uso has a lot of power holding on to the World Heavyweight title. He said, but Seth Rollins needs that power. And in his words, Seth Rollins needs the power, right? He said Seth Rollins is challenging you to a match for the World Heavyweight title tonight. Well, sorry, I'm getting ahead. First, he said he's challenging you to a match for the World Heavyweight title. He said, you name the time, you name the place. And Jey Uso, he said, I name the time, I name the place. Okay, tonight. And then that was it for that. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm filming this while Raw is on right now. Okay. This is obvious, and if my mind's changed, well, if things are different by the end of the show, I'm still not going to change this clip. I'm going to keep this same clip. It's clear that it's going to be a disqualification at the end. There's going to be no winner, okay? I at least I don't see it. But we'll see, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a disqualification. Becky Lynch and Lyra came face to face. Well, first it started off with Becky Lynch talking in the ring, talking her stuff on the microphone, you know how she does. And then a few minutes later, Lyra interrupted, and they had some words with each other. Lyra was talking about how Becky Lynch has a lot of like first time achievements, but Lyra has a first time achievement now, of being the first person to hold this particular title. You know that look Becky Lynch gets when she starts getting like really frustrated, but she's like not saying anything? Well, she puts that face on, and a few seconds later, they start brawling each other again this week. Very similar to last week, they start brawling each other again all around the ring. Security comes and separates Becky and Lyra, and then Becky Lynch gets back on the microphone. You know how she does. She gets on that microphone and talks her stuff the way she does. And they started brawling again. Becky Lynch was in the middle of the manhandle slam, but Lyra reversed it, and I don't know what to call the move, but she did some kind of like, it almost reminds you of like Seth Rollins' move when he does that, like that arrow move. It almost kind of reminds you of that. But I hope that this does not happen. Like Becky Lynch needs another title. She's back. Who comes back to lose? But we will see Backlash this weekend. Of course, a video will be coming to you for that. Seth Rollins versus Jey Uso, World Heavyweight title. In the middle of the match, Seth Rollins falls off the top rope, and the referee was checking on him. Meanwhile, Braun Breaker got up there, and Jey Uso kicked him off into the Prime. And a few minutes later, after all that, again, the referee never sees anything, right? Seth Rollins was able to jump up on the top rope, hit a suplex, and then hit that arrow move that we just were actually talking about. And then a few minutes later, hit a stomp, but he was not able to get the whole stomp. It was like a half a stomp. Like, he did not get all of the stomp. which I think was one of the reasons why Jey Uso was able to 1, 2, and kick out after that. Sami Zayn's music hits. Sami Zayn is nowhere to be found at first, but he comes through the crowd and jumps onto Braun Breaker and starts brawling with Braun Breaker, which he was able to eliminate Braun Breaker for enough time that Jey Uso could hit a combo 3 times, a three-way super kick, spear, and splash from the top rope. But 1, 2, Seth Rollins came out of it. A few minutes later, Braun Breaker makes it back to his feet and hits a spear on Sami Zayn. Jey Uso sees this happen and he goes to check on Sami Zayn. It's like, all right, now you're getting distracted. You know what I mean? Like, focus on the match. Paul Heyman jumps on the apron, which is distracting the referee, and Braun Breaker is able to hit a spear on Jey Uso. Again, this is the kind of stuff that these new factions do. They put him in the ring. Seth Rollins is able to hit a stomp, and I'm like, oh boy, this is probably going to be it. But nope, because the static sound effect, CM Punk came out there and pretty much just knocked down Braun Breaker with a steel chair and then entered the ring and started using the chair on Seth Rollins. Braun Breaker made it back in there and he used the chair on Braun Breaker as well. And all 3 of them escaped, which left Punk, Sami, and Jey all standing tall in the ring. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of like tag team match or 6-man tag match or something down the line with this. I'm sure they're gonna do some kind of tag team match. They might actually do it at Backlash, like they might announce it later or something. I don't know. But this was a pretty cool ending to the show. I really enjoyed it. It was not exactly what I was thinking, and I said that I was gonna keep the same clip. It wasn't exactly what I was thinking that happened, but it still was a really cool ending. That's it for this video, peeps. Peace out, peeps. Part of me almost thought Logan Paul was gonna get involved, but he didn't. I just want to throw this in here as well. Throw one more thing in here. If at Backlash they wind up doing some sort of tag team match in some sort of way, I said it here first. What if they turn out to do something like Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker against Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk? I'm just saying, it's possible. But that's it for this video for real, peeps. Peace out, peeps.